Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's featured Reddit stories are from PettyRevenge. Story 1 is by MethodRN00. I hunted down my credit card thieves. Cross post. Delete if not allowed. Yesterday morning I received an email notification from my credit card company stating a transaction for $1,500 at a med spa was declined, and another stating it was approved. I immediately called said credit card company to report the fraudulent charge. Turns out my card had fraudulent charges over the past 3 weeks with purchases including various hotels in my area, eBay, gas stations, self-storage, and moving truck rental. I rarely use this card. The last time I used it in person was in February and last online purchase in 2023. Fortunately, my credit card company flagged all recent charges and closed my card. This morning, my significant other had a doctor's appointment in the same city as a hotel purchase made yesterday. After the doctor, boyfriend asked me what I thought we should do today. I said, well, you wanted to shop for some new shoes, or we could always swing by this hotel up the street and see if the credit card thieves are still there. The amount seemed like it would cover 2 or 3 days. So boyfriend and I go to the hotel to see if the people were still checked in and to let them know the card was stolen and the charges would be reversed. Front desk lady was pissed. She was able to find the reservation by card number and noted the person had kept changing cards to pay for the room. Of course, they didn't tell me the room number, much to my boyfriend's dismay. Boyfriend was hoping to get a room key to take their stuff. Lol, right. I called the credit card company and they asked me to call the police. I called the sheriff's department and they arrived within 20 minutes. I was surprised they even came. I gave them my report, ID, and credit card. The deputy asked me if I wanted to prosecute. I said yes. But can I prosecute if my credit card company is going to refund all the money anyway? Then they went inside and spoke to the front desk who provided them the invoice. Boyfriend and I waited outside of the front lobby. Then, through the automatic sliding doors, I heard the front desk lady yell, "That's him. He's trying to leave." Light Hispanic dude with a bull terrier and several bags get placed in cuffs. He gets brought outside, searched, and doggo gets cuffed to a trash can. Then another little Asian guy gets brought out in cuffs. A third deputy arrives and brings out a fancy Asian lady with a face full of fillers, 2 suitcases, and a Coach backpack. 4 officers started going through the backpacks on the hood of their car. We see passports, IDs, credit cards. They pull out a big credit card printing machine and a laptop. They then pull out a big Ziploc bag filled with crystal meth and the cop explains, "Here we go," and turns towards us to flash a smile. 2 of them go back to search the hotel room and bring down 2 bags with more drugs, a scale, 4 car keys, and a big wad of cash. Unfortunately, none of the cars were in the parking lot and the perps said they had been traveling by Uber. The cops contacted one of the thief's friends to pick up the dog, who arrived pretty quickly. It was an older Asian dude with tattoos, flashy jewelry, and an old luxury SUV. Don't worry, we got his pics and license plates. All these guys seemed like characters out of The Brother's Son. The deputies then gave me all the paperwork and told me that one of the guys said they stole my card off the internet. I would have guessed they used a scanner while I was at the fair a few weeks ago. I find that so weird because I haven't used my card online in almost a year. Apparently they made a physical card that had a different name on it. Anywho, I walk inside to give the front desk a copy of the incident number and then I remembered something else. I remembered seeing another transaction for a storage unit that was made yesterday and 2 charges at a rental truck company. I go back outside and talk to the sheriff and asked him if he wanted me to try to figure out where that was. I was able to track down the storage location to a city about 15 minutes away, but no can do on the trucks. I called the storage place and they confirmed a payment was made with my card but would not give me the unit number. From there, the sheriff said it was out of their jurisdiction and they would try to get a search warrant, but that might take a while. However, it might be helpful if I made a police report with the other city. So with nothing better to do, I drove my butt over there and made another police report regarding the storage unit. That's it for now. We'll update if anything else happens. In the meantime, I will call up the credit bureau to freeze my social security, tell my dog to be on alert, and load magazines. Any other suggestions? Also, Copper and I wanted to prosecute, but that was before the drug bust. So, do I need a lawyer? Thanks in advance. That's crazy. Most of the stories that you hear about people stealing credit cards and using them aren't doing it anywhere near you. I had my credit card used in a different state in like 2015. Somebody in New Jersey used my card at a store. It's unfortunate that there are so many degenerate, awful people in the world that are willing to do things like that. Down in the comments was somebody replying just to offer a little bit of advice. By Haymaker. But can I prosecute if my credit card company is going to refund all the money anyway? Yes, these are criminal charges, grand theft. When they say, do you want to prosecute, they really mean, will you cooperate with the DA when they file charges? Will you testify against them or at least help with the investigation? With the meth, the grand theft is probably small beans, so they may not even ask. Quoting the OP again, I would have guessed they used a scanner while I was at the fair a few weeks ago. Someone may have used a scanner and then sold the number on the internet. Always beep your card. Never swipe. Our next story is by Butterfly21482. This is a short one, but it's good. Passed me over for promotion. Everyone gets new appliances. I'm currently benefiting from some PettyRevenge. Basically, the management company for my apartment complex passed over the woman who'd been there for 25 years for a new guy who doesn't know his butt from his elbow. One of those Neanderthal types with vacant eyes and his mouth always hanging slightly open. So this lovely woman now decides that her precious mission to save the company money is fruitless and will never gain her praise or compensation like she'd hoped. So suddenly, when I made my fourth complaint about my dishwasher, she just ordered me a new one. AC unit not working? Let's get you a brand new, more efficient one. One button on your microwave stopped working? Here's a new one. It's great, and I bet they are regretting it now. Lol. They might be regretting it, but they're also probably going to try to crack down on her for doing that. She's doing what we all wish people would do when an appliance breaks. Just get me something brand new. Brand spanking new, nice and shiny stainless steel. And again, I'm willing to bet that this Neanderthal type with the vacant eyes and his mouth hanging half open is related to the guy that runs the management company. Our next story is by Nearsighted Nahida. Refuse to wait on us until after the deal expires? This is what happens. This is a story from my dad as I was very young when this happened. Once upon a time, many years ago, there was a Friendly's where we would frequently get breakfast. And back in that day, there was a deal available. You could get 2 pancakes, 2 sausages or strips of bacon, and 2 eggs for $2.22. Those were the days. So long as you were there before 11 a.m. So we go with a large party to Friendly's and arrive at the empty restaurant before 11 a.m. And then we wait, and wait, and wait some more. We are not waited on until after 11, so the staff refuses to give us the deal. We end up ordering the same thing we'd get with a $2.22 deal, but because we weren't waited on until after the deal had expired, it cost much more. With a group of our size, we ended up with a sizable bill. I'm not sure the exact amount, but it was over $100. Now, my dad was a waiter. He understands well the importance of tips and almost always tips generously. But not on this day. Oh no. On the day of this incident, you know what tip my dad left? $2.22. I'm surprised a business would do this to you. According to a lot of people down in the comments, they do this sort of thing all the time. They take a bit of a loss if they charge so little for something like that they offer incentives to their workers to try to delay people and not offer them the deal. But I'm really surprised that there was a place where you were literally there before 11 a.m. And the deal said as long as you were there before 11 a.m., you get the deal. And then, in the long run, they just screwed you over on the bill. If that sort of thing happened nowadays, you would have Friendly's getting nuked in Google reviews. They would be getting blasted in the Google reviews. Is Friendly's even still a thing nowadays? I haven't been to one in many, many, many years, and we used to always go to Friendly's Whenever we would go and visit my grandmother, we would stop halfway and we would have breakfast or we would have lunch at a Friendly's. It made the trips so much better. They had such good food. Our next story is by Cam Potter. Neighbor's friend parked in car spot, so I blocked him in and made him apologize. Hopefully this fits here. Used to live in a duplex with a double car park at the end of the driveway. 1 car spot for each resident. Anyway, neighbor had a friend over and decided they would take the spare lot next to the neighbor's car. I've come home after work to find someone in my car spot, so I did the only logical thing and parked directly behind them, blocking them from being able to reverse out of the tight driveway to go home. Content with my actions, I went inside and told the wife my only hope was that they needed to leave before I did the next morning. Sure enough, about 2 hours later, there was a soft knock at our door and a very sheepish man tried to explain he didn't realize it was a park and he was very sorry. He asked, could I please move my car? I said sure and moved so he could leave. Never saw him again. It was extremely satisfying. I only wish I'd been outside to see his face when he realized he'd goofed. All too common. You know what's funny about car parking stories like this? There might be parking spaces not too far away from where they decided to park, but they don't want to walk farther, so they decide to park as close to the building as they can. And in the long run, they end up walking more because they have to walk around and go knock on doors and figure out whose car parked behind them. It's not worth it in the long run. Also, if you tick off somebody enough, they could damage your car if they wanted to. You're leaving a very expensive piece of your personal property out and about, and potentially angering someone. It's never worth it. Our last story today is another short one. It's by OK Invite 468. Warm pillows. For years, our middle child has been teasing his younger siblings with his favorite saying. He would taunt them and say in an affected voice, "May your pillows always be warm on both sides." They could never think of what to say back to him, and we didn't correct him as it seemed quite harmless. We have been having exceptionally warm weather, and the homes here do not have air conditioning and are built to retain the heat in cold winters. Cue a very hot and humid day and an even more humid and sticky night. Our youngest children had gone to bed hours earlier and were sound asleep. Our middle child went to bed and within 2 minutes was standing in our room with a look of utter fury on his face and a filled hot water bottle he had found under his pillow. We don't know which sibling got their revenge, but it sure was petty. This one hits close to home because even with air conditioning in my room, some nights I wake up and my pillow is just way too warm. No matter what way you flip it, it's way too warm. Someday I'm going to try some of the different pillows that they have online that stay cool. There's ones with like gel inserts and better ventilation holes, and then I know a couple years ago there was ones stuffed with buckwheat shells, and I guess that buckwheat doesn't retain heat as much as other things do, but I can't imagine that would be very comfortable to begin with. I haven't tried it, but maybe someday. But that was also an advertisement on TV in like 1995, so it may not even be a thing anymore. Our stories have come to a close. Until we meet again, have a day where your pillow is nice and cool.